Good evening. It's the judge. Here am I, the Sheriff of Tippingham. This is HHV, the judge, looking at a big race for Saturday. Well, it's been one of those days, really. Strange ride from Paddy Brennan. I got the lawyers on. They said I could get away with saying strange on Paul the Green at Cheltenham. And many of you have been actively messaging me for my thoughts. So I'm sticking with strange, although our friend Jumpsmax man who was there used some rather stronger terms, Judge, but we'll stick with strange. Ground was worse than we thought, wasn't it, Judge?
It was, yeah. Well,
Newbury,
I mean,
Newbury
the old weatherman again, eh? I mean, God.
Yeah, Newbury looks ghastly, doesn't it? And Donny...
Donny looks unraceable. But, I mean, I think Noah's got his arc ready, don't you?
Yeah, exactly. What time does that run, Noah's Ark? Now, we are going to look... Obviously, we don't think it's unraceable because we're going to go to Donny for the 335. It's the Vertum Future. The
Easy for you to say.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Trophy stage. Formerly Racing Post.
That's right. Yeah.
Now, again, Racing Post, why can't they keep the sponsorship of this? But there you go. That's for another day. So it's the Vertum Futurity Trophy. Now, this has seen some great horses down the years.
Oh.
One thinks a Celtic Swing.
Celtic Swing. You're going to love this going.
Oh, he'd love this going. He won by the length of the high street. And my town has a pretty big high street. We've seen all sorts of good horses win this. And this year, another strong field turns up on soft, heavy in places. I don't know where the soft bits are. I think it's probably heavy all around. Look. This is a mile for 2-year-olds on any ground. Stamina comes into it. Tomorrow, well, you're going to have to really stay. So it ain't going to be won by speed tomorrow. It's going to be won by stamina, bravery, and a tough horse. So we're going to go through them all. There's 8 runners. And the first thing, Judge, let's pray they all stay their ground overnight.
Oh, please.
We get the dead 8. So please, we get the dead 8. We're going to do what we usually do. We're going to look at the front 2 in the market. Now, the favourite was odds on yesterday and is now odds against. And that is number 1, top of the shop, August Rodin. He's won his last 2 for Coolmore, ridden by their retained jockey, Ryan Moore, their number 1 jockey. Last time out was seen winning a Group 2 at Leopardstown by a length and a half from Caroline Street, a very highly regarded horse. He's by Deep Impact, who Coolmore really rate out of a Galileo mare, so he's certainly bred to do the job. August Rodin, 11 to 10. I'll start here, Judge. I think I sense a little bit of weakness in this, not just because I'll come to why later with my selection, but he was odds on. Now, usually, when they have an anti-post favourite odds on, or around this mark, these are the type of races that Coolmore tend to really get stuck into. And it's one of those things that you will see when Tabor and the guys come out to play. You will see that even money 10 to 11 very quickly go to about 4 to 7. You'll know this in the bookmaker game. It's very easy to tell when these boys really fancy one of their jollies. And I'm just not getting that vibe. Now, of course, I may be wrong. The money may come on the day. But also looking through it on pure form. Yes, he beat a good horse by a length and a half. He's proved himself at the trip, which is very important tomorrow. Yes. He's proved himself on the ground. I'll give him that. But off a mark of 109, I don't see him as a penalty kick here at all. And at 11 to 10, it's not really enough to get me interested in this. Big chance, but I'll take him on around even money.
He's the type of horse that personally I'd rather back against rather than lay. Do you know what I'm trying to say? So, I mean, I've got to say, you've gone about his form. It's proven on soft. Well, this is going to be, I don't think any of these are going to be proven on this going, to be honest, that they're going to be really racing on. So you've still got a question even at most mudlarks in this tomorrow. But the horse it beat, Caroline Street, that's got slaughtered next time out in the Group 3.
Point.
I mean, what is the form really worth? I mean, that's the only question. And if even at 11 to 10, it's not for me, mate. I've got to let horses like this win. You know, he could be the Derby horse, but you know, for me, I'd just rather just back against it. I just hope the dead 8 turn up.
Yeah, and we're getting a theme here. I think week in, week out, we do try and encourage you to take these shorties on. Sometimes, you know, I like to think we get it
every box, don't you? Really?
Yeah, I think we get it right. We oppose the right ones more times than not. Now let's come to his main rival, and this is a horse who made his debut and was one of those where went in everyone's notebook and everyone said, "Wow, what a performance!" It's number 4, Epicetus, best price 7 to 2. We bet 365 currently. It is Gosden and the Tory teaming up. It's a Kingman colt out of a Selkirk mare. Now, again, those of us of a certain vintage will remember Selkirk, a miler for Ian Balding. And that horse absolutely loved desperate ground. Really, really did. So we've got reason to believe that on the dam side, and I know Gosden thinks it's got a real big round action. Now, this on debut was so impressive. However, just 2 weeks ago, he got beat in a driving finish by Silver Knot. Now, that was only a Group 3 at Newmarket. Now, that was quicker ground. May well be that this soft ground will suit more. I'm fairly sure it will, given on that breeding and the way the horse gallops. However, you know, bet 365 are 7 to 2, Judge. The majority of firms are 3 to 100 to 30. It's always going to be popular with Gosden and Dettori in a Group 1.
Yeah.
Now, as a rule, I wouldn't want to be backing horses at 3 to 1 who have recently failed to win a Group 3, go up 2 grades. Now, there may be very different reasons, form-wise, ground-wise, whatever. But Silver Knot, I wouldn't be putting him in here, you know, much shorter to win a Group 1. So I think there's a bit of reputation for this horse based on his debut. However, did get beat. However you dress it up and say it was a driving finish, it's still got beat here, and he's coming off a defeat. And we're expected to take, I think, on the strength of that, quite a short price.
Yeah, I'm going to obviously, I suppose I could come to my selection because we're going to come to it in a minute. But I just think the differential at the price between Epicetus at 3 to 1, 7 to 2, and Holloway Boy at 10 to 1 is just too much. I mean, Holloway Boy didn't get a very clear run that day. He just seemed to get stuck up the rail, and he wasn't doing a tap either. I think I see the the visors going on that one. But look, bred to go on the going, like you say, But once again, 3 to 1. They're even questioning whether they're going to run. I think I read somewhere as well that Aidan O'Brien's still going to have a look. You'd like to think they're still going to probably run these big operations. And I think the likes, I think he's quite solid, but he's no juice in the price at 3s either. So I'm quite happy to sit him out and just hope the dead 8 run. And I will definitely have one each way bet and probably another smaller each way bet in the race, as long as the 8 turn up.
What I would say, Judge, to slightly play devil's advocate with you about the prices on the first and second favourite, the favourite did at least win a Group 2.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So
I mean, like when they met last time out, Epicetus was 9 to 4 and Holloway Boy was 2 to 1. So there's a length and a half between them. But if you watch the race back, there's no way I think anyone would expect that Holloway Boy wouldn't finish alongside Epicetus at least. And then you're asked to take.
I totally agree. Agree on the prices.
One's 3 to 1 and one's 10. So it just makes sense to go for the 10 to 1, doesn't it?
Well, if you fancy that form line, and you can argue positives and negatives, the bet has to be Holloway Boy, doesn't it? The bet has to be Holloway Boy.
It does. At the prices, it does. That's. And the other thing I do like a little bit more about Holloway Boy, in going, this heavy ground, you kind of like a little bit more of something that might be a little bit more battle hardened than something that hasn't had too many runs. But it can work the other way. Sometimes the fresh horse can come here. Something's only had one run. It's just an interesting race to be fair. But I think the front 2 are tight enough, and I think there's some juice at taking them on.
Yeah, So judges' selection is Holloway Boy each way. You can get 10-1 with Paddy Power and Betfair Sport, and I'd be very surprised if you beat that tomorrow.
I do.
I want to cover 2 yards before I come to my selection, and they are 2 yards that I think often in these group races they run above their pure form they bring into it, and they're the yards of Andrew Balding. You've already mentioned his father in, and Rafe Beckett. Now we've seen these land group races, group ones, all sorts of things at big prices, haven't we? I mean, I go back to the 1,000 Guineas where I came within a whisker of Beckett winning. I think it was 25s, wasn't it?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, prosperous voyage, wasn't it?
Yeah, prosperous voyage. Now he has the outsider of the lot here. God, I'm getting the names tonight, aren't I? Captain Wiyazaba. At 50-1. Now this is a horse who was in. Well, the horse wasn't in the news so much. He was involved inadvertently because he was the horse that got Rob Hornby ejected sideways in a group race at Saint-Cloud, unseated. Well, I think not so much unseated as knocked off, wasn't it? And Rob Hornby, I mean, we're slightly seeing the amusing side of it, could very easily have broken his neck in what was an assault, really. But let's deal with that. That's been sort of sorted. I know that the jockey paid the expenses of the owners of the horse. I think about the least he could do, wasn't it? But there you go.
It was still. I still think it's it's just one of those things. You let's say not every jockey would have done.
No. Yeah. So Captain Wiyazaba. Now look, the horse comes into this race having won a maiden on good ground at Foss Last. Now that doesn't really usually, no offense to Foss Last fans, build a strong case to be winning a Group 1 end of season championship race. However, here's my thinking. Beckett horses have an incredible habit of running well on really bad ground. And the race at Saint-Cloud, he must have thought the horse was useful, Judge, or he wouldn't have sent it out there that day for a group race on what was very testing ground. So that ground didn't scare them off for going all the way out there. And I just think that stranger things have happened, and this horse nicking a place. He's not my selection, but I just wanted to make the point that Beckett and Balding are not frightened of taking on the likes of Coolmore, Godolphin. They regularly do with much cheaper horses than these top people, and they have great results. Now, that brings me quickly to the 12-1 shot Stormbuster. Now, he's only rated 99. For instance, Epicetus is 111. The highest rated in the race. August Rodin is 109. Holloway Boy's 109. So he's rated on the book the same as the Jolly.
Favourite. Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, Stormbuster won his last race. It wasn't a great race at Newbury. In fact, it was a very ordinary race. But he won it by 5 lengths. Now, that was over a mile. And if you watch that race, he really starts motoring late on. I think he'll get it.
He does.
Now, the ground might be an issue, but he's by Dubawi. Dubawis tend to go in soft, maybe not very, very soft like it'll be tomorrow. But there is certainly some hope that he'll be one of those staying on when a few of these have cried enough. So I'm mentioning that. But my tip, Judge, has got to be number 7, Salt Lake City, the Coolmore second string. Now, this horse was second on debut to let me get my notes. They've gone off, which is nice of them. Here we go. What did he do on debut? He was
second at the Cara.
Yeah, to a horse called Al Riffa. Now, we know that went on to win a very big race. Last time out, Al Riffa won the Group 1 Vincent O'Brien Stakes. Well, this thing was second on debut.
Yeah.
Now, I actually saw this run at York. I'm going to be totally honest here, Judge. The horse didn't played up in the paddock before, looked highly agitated before on the way down to the start, ran an absolute stinker, 15th of 17. Now, if you'd have said to me as they came back in then that I would be selecting this for the former Racing Post, I'd have said you were needing a little sit down. But last time out, they obviously went home, regrouped, give him a break. They never rush anything this mob. They brought him out in a decent maiden. I'm not suggesting it was like anything, superb, But if you watch, and it was on soft ground, he just took it up. They obviously thought he's got loads of stamina. They ignored it, just went a gallop and said to anybody, you know, if you can keep up. And he powered home. By Galileo, really, really did stretch out. Now, he's by a Kailaki mare. Remember Kailaki? That horse.
Yeah, I was just looking at the other one, which I'll come to in a minute. Yeah, I do remember Kailaki, sprinter.
Yeah,
he wanted soft ground.
He was a sprinter, but he loves soft ground. But obviously, Galileo, there's plenty of stamina in the fire.
Yeah.
I think he's going to run a big race now. The 18s, 16s, 14s have gone. You can still get 12 to 1 with Bet365. And I don't see him as coming over here to keep the favourite company. I think he's got big chance tomorrow. And it would not be the first time this lot have won this race or any Group 1 with their second or third string. Never be frightened of backing their other runners. They are all there to do the best. And I'm backing him. I'm a big bet on this at 12s.
Yeah, I know. I definitely wouldn't put you off. I do love this. To be fair, you nearly always get a bit of value on their second and third strings, even now.
You do.
And at the end of the day, you've got a top quality bred horse, and you're getting double figures. It's coming on the back of a good win.
They're still going to be $1 million horses, aren't they? By multiple Group 1 winning sires, even if they're second and third string.
Yeah, I mean. It's interesting. It's funny you see certain stables with certain families, and I mean, as we get older, Si, you kind of remember that. It's like I was looking at Stormbuster. Do you remember? I've lost the mare now. The mare of Stormbuster. Crikey, she had one eye. Bathsheba.
Oh yes, yeah.
She was a stayer. So getting back to your Stormbuster, I can definitely see that running a race for sure. And the outsider you were on about, definitely well overpriced. And Rafe Beckett's quite good at popping up in these races with big prices. Yeah. This is why it's very important the dead 8 go to post, because you can have a couple of silly little smaller bets on the real big price ones and go for your touch on your main one. But if there's 7 runners, it does take the juice away. And I always find very frustrating, it's never normally one of the favourites that comes out. It's nearly always like a 14 or 50, a 50 to 1 chance. Yeah. And not that this is a Group 1, to be honest. So you'd like to think they'd all stand their ground for something like this. It's not like a £5 grand handicap.
No, exactly. Now there's only 2 we haven't mentioned. Let's deal with Dancing Magic first. He's number 3, trained by Roger Teal, ridden by Jim Crowley. Actually, he's rated 106, yet to win. But he was 4th to Silver.
He wasn't far behind the other 2.
No, it was only beaten less than 3 lengths by Camelot. Obviously, Roger Teal's had another great year, and it's very interesting that why not? If you're entered, take your chance. You never know who's going to come out. I'm not just, I don't really see him winning.
He's the same form line as the other 2. So you'd like to think if the other 2 form's good, he'd be with them. But if it's not, you can't put all your eggs in the one basket. No. I did actually try and make a case for him on his last start. I did back him each way 3 places, and of course he came 4th that day because he ran behind Naval Power the time before, and I didn't think that was a bad run. I thought he'd been missed in the market a bit at 40 to 1 last, where it's 40s into 20s. But it'd be a bit remiss of me not to have mentioned him. But I just think if he frames, I'd like to think my other one's definitely going to be framing Holloway Boy. So,
I don't see him beating the 2 that beat him last time.
No, he had the run of the race up the rail as well that day, didn't it?
Yeah, it's a bit speculative, that one. That leaves us with only 1 horse, then we've covered the entire field.
Now, this is a funny one.
King of Steel. Now, Judge, I get look out for this, whatever, like many people in this game, and I had call after call after call. King of Steel, don't miss that. Nottingham.
That's right.
Loughnane thinks best he's ever trained, blah, blah, blah. Big entries. Racing Post flagged it up. Sporting Life at the races. Everybody flagged up. This one was in this race. It was an ordinary maiden. Well, we'll say ordinary maiden. It's a bit unfair. It was a maiden that thrown up good wins.
A Derby winner won.
Derby, I was being a bit harsh there. I thought it was an ordinary race, I ought to say. It wasn't an ordinary maiden. But all big boys were there. The night before, when the betting went up, 11 to 10, evens, all the previews in the dailies were saying this is supposed to be good. I looked again in the morning. It had gone out to 6-4, 7-4. When the Racing News Bulletin started and they did their drifters, the first one was mentioned was King of Steel. He went off 11-2.
Yeah.
At one point on the exchanges, I was told he was big, quite a bit bigger than that. And he won by 5 lengths.
Yes.
Now, I have no idea what happened that day. He didn't play up before. He didn't sweat up. He didn't get loose. But somebody did not think that horse was going to win for whatever reason. Now, he made an
they did their cobblers, didn't they?
Yeah, they did it. Anybody who well, what happens now, as you know, is that when these horses start drifting, people join in the fun and it gets silly. So they've got various software that lays drifters, and before you know it, you get into situations like this. Anybody who had faith in the information that they'd had about what the trainer thought could have won themselves a pretty penny by staying. And if you were on best odds guaranteed and you went off to work thinking, well, I should have a 6-4 winner, and you saw you were being paid out 11-2, so there were winners, the people that had backed the horse.
Of course, yeah.
Now, the bare form of that, obviously he hasn't got a mark yet. It's very difficult to tell the bare form of that race because a lot of them haven't come out since. It was only 2 weeks ago, and there were a lot of other debuts. Now, it may well be that there's some, good horses in there. But to me, he hasn't got enough to recommend him as a bet here. But what I will say is he's a horse to get on your notebook for next year in staying trips.
Yeah.
I can't honestly say value at 12-1 after winning an Ossian Maiden.
No, it is, but there again, once again, it's quite a bit of soft ground stuff in his side, in his pedigree again, isn't there? You got Wooden Bassett, Burglar, and whatever. So, I mean,
but Judge, your Holloway boy's 10-1. Yeah, right? And he's got group placed form.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. This is 12-1, and it's But I will say they did cost 200 grand. It wasn't a cheap horse as well, so he must have looked a nice horse. So
I'm not in any way decrying it. I'm saying on what we know, it cannot be regarded to me as a play at 12. It may well win tomorrow, but we've got much more.
Did Authorise win this on the back of one run for Chapel Iron one year? You said it won a race and then come here and then, mind you, I think it was a good price that day and absolutely bolted up. So
it won it at 33.
It could be anything, Si. It's one of these horses. It could literally be anything.
But I think Authorise was.
He's not a horse you want to go each way, is he? King of Steel's more a win bet. He'll either be there or, personally, I think it'd be out. He's more of a win bet than an each way bet at that price. And actually,
if he finishes sixth, he may well have really improved.
Absolutely, yeah. Probably comes sixth in this. He'd probably run to around 100. You'd think, wouldn't you?
Yeah. It's a quick turnaround on soft as well for a young horse.
Yeah. It's not really what you would have planned. You would have thought, really, would you?
No.
But still, I suppose they've given it a go. There's only 8 runners, so they've been rewarded going for it.
It will be interesting to see if he drifts tomorrow like he did last time. I've got a funny feeling he might go out to about 16s.
Yeah, could do.
So listen, this is our view of the flat. Now, this is one of the last big Saturdays of the flat.
Absolutely.
And it's Cheltenham tomorrow. I know you've got some bets. I've got some big bets to throw, so people need to look out. Also, there'll be some. We had a really good week in the column this week. 3 winners going to go for a big price each way in HFC. So if you're not in HFC Club, get it at the link below, and your first bet will be a big price each way. Now, Judge, you are on Holloway Boy here.
Holloway Boy. Yeah.
And were you going to have a little win bet on another one? Did you say?
I think I'll have a small win bet on Stormbuster.
Yeah.
And that's how I play the race.
Yeah, big each way Salt Lake City if you can get that 12-1. And I can't resist.
No, I don't blame you. Have a little bit on Captain. As long as the dead ain't run,
on the Captain Wizarba. Yeah, so let's firstly up the all run. If not, I would advise your savers to be win bets.
Yeah, absolutely. Unless your nice bookmaker was to offer 3 places, there won't be many that do.
I don't know any, so I'll leave it there. Right, have a fantastic day, everybody. Another big Saturday. I really feel like the jumps is coming to life now, Judge.
Yeah, we're now Cheltenham started. you feel like you can start looking at it now, don't you?
We'll do a judges' duels on a Monday.
I've already got one actually that ran today, and that's definite eye spot. You know, eye
we'll
spot.
dig out some Cheltenham stuff.
Yeah.
And so look out for that, and give us a thumbs up, like and share if you do like these videos, and we'll keep doing them. So, Judge, good luck tomorrow, mate. If mine don't win, I hope yours do, but I hope a lot more that mine do.
Your one does.
All right, mate. All the best.
Cheers,
Cheers, everybody. Be lucky. And the Kiss catchphrase now.
Hold